Hey guys, my name is Johnny DiFrancesco and I'm here to share a couple of recipes with you. I'm going to be cooking, my first recipe is an eggplant parmigiana from my newest book, Food of Naples. You can find it on page 22 of my book. Hopefully you enjoy it and you can share this with your friends and family. So let's cook that book. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is buy ourselves some really good eggplants, right? And we are going to chop them up about 1 centimeter in thickness, right? So really simple when we're cooking, just remember, keep your fingers away from your knife. Now that I've said that, I'm gonna probably end up cutting myself, right? So keep your fingers away, try and point them away from the knife and just slice right down, right? So about 1 centimeter. Now, once we have chopped or cut through the eggplant, what we're going to do is place these onto a tray, which I have here, beautiful tray, and I'm going to separate them. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to salt them. So I'm going to grab some salt. Okay, so I've got some salt. Sorry, can I use this salt? Yeah? So I'm going to just put some salt over the eggplants. Now, the reason why I do this is so I can extract all the moisture out of the eggplant. So I'm gonna let these set for about an hour, and then we're gonna come back to them and we're gonna fry them off. Okay, so once we've cut all our eggplants into round pieces, now you can see I've salted, and you can probably see if I squash that, you'll see some moisture drop off the eggplant. Now that's because the salt is actually extracting all the moisture. So before we put these into a bit of flour to fry, we obviously need to pat dry. So we want to get rid of that moisture. So I normally just grab some eggplant like that. And another piece of paper. And all we're doing is pat drying. So we get rid of all the moisture. Now, once we've done that, we're going to get some flour. This is my flour. So we get some flour and we're going to just lightly flour all the eggplant pieces, okay? Now, once we've done that, just make sure you shake off any excess flour. And what we're going to do is place these into the frying pan. Now, please be really careful. Oil can be quite hot, so always place the product or whatever vegetable or food product, place the part on the pan first and then drop away from your body. So if there's anything that's going to spill out, it'll go the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm just frying off the eggplant. Now you see that they've gone nicely golden brown, and that's what we want to get. They're going to feel like they're a little bit crispy, but that's fine because when we bake them, that's when they start to release all that oil that has absorbed, and that's where all the flavor is. So don't be too alarmed. So you'll see that they're crispy. So we're nearly done. And the next step's going to be we're going to put it all together, and then we're going to bake. So stay tuned. Okay, so we're up to the fun bit now, right? We're about to put our beautiful eggplant parmigiana in the oven, but before we do that, we need to assemble. Now, the frying of the eggplant is probably about 10 minutes, so it's not that long. Okay, this recipe, probably the longest process is actually salting the eggplant, so it's not too much of a hassle to make this recipe. Now, what we want to do is we're going to use some beautiful either passata or some fresh peeled tomato, which I don't mind either. I think they're both great. So what we need to first do is on the bottom of the ramekin, we are going to put a little bit of passata or tomato, and we are then going to place our eggplant. Now, what I normally do is I will try and place an eggplant that fits the bowl, or if not, what I do is I break up some eggplants and I fill all the edges up. So every single bite, you're gonna get some eggplant. That's really important, okay? So place that. I then will put some beautiful parmigiano, then some ricotta. Now this recipe is full of cheese. It is really delicious. Some ricotta, and then Buffalo mozzarella. Now, I love breaking my buffalo mozzarella up by hand, right? So you don't need to use a knife. You just break it up nicely like that and place it into the ramekin. Now, how much cheese you put, that's entirely up to you, right? I love cheese, so I put a lot of cheese. Now, one thing to bear in mind is I'm gonna use some breadcrumb. Now, the reason why I use the breadcrumb is because there is so much moisture in this dish. What the breadcrumb does is actually absorb some of that moisture. It won't alter any of the taste, right? But it will absorb some moisture. So just like a pinch of breadcrumb on the layer, and we're done the first one. So then we'll go on to the next layer. We do the same thing. So again, a piece of eggplant, and again, breaking up some of the eggplant to cover the whole ramekin. Whatever you have left over, you eat, right? It's awesome. So I'm gonna place some passata again in between. And again, some Parmigiano. And so we're repeating the same thing. So we'll probably do this about 3 times throughout the whole process. Okay, so ricotta, and one of my favorite cheeses again, buffalo. And again, a little bit of breadcrumb. We then do it one more time. And we're also going to top this with some nice basil. Okay, so now I've assembled the eggplant parmigiana, and what we need to do is cover it with some baking paper and also some foil. So don't just put the foil on top, okay? Because a lot of people do that, and then the foil sticks to the sauce, and you get all these little metal parts floating around your parmigiana. So we're gonna get some baking paper, and just over the top, and a little bit of foil. And what we're gonna do is cover it. So once we've covered each one like this, we're gonna place it into the oven. There we go. Okay, so we're coming back to see the eggplant parmigiana. This is my favorite part because the cooking process, actually, it doesn't finish here, right? So what I'm gonna do is pull off the foil and the baking paper off each of the eggplant parmigiana. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to get the brown top nicely brown. Okay, so we'll be back in a few minutes. So guys, this is how simple it was to make an eggplant parmigiana. Voila, they're ready to serve up. I'm gonna add some extra virgin olive oil because I love topping it with that. Oh my grandmother would be proud. Thank you.